with your ladies from the table here. I'm Fiona and I'm joined by Melody,
Hi.
Mary Ellen and Shona.
Hi.
Always good to see you ladies.
Good to see you too.
Good. I'm glad you've me. Now, this week we are going to be talking about palm oil, the impact of palm oil on our health and also the environment. We'll also look at school hours, and later in the show we've got an inspiring interview with Heather Hawkins. She's a cancer survivor. You do not want to miss that. But up first, we are going to be doing the quick topics with the ladies. Now, they do not know what these topics are. No. They haven't been prepared, but let's just have some fun.
Okay.
So the first topic is, what's your tips for making your marriage thrive?
Well, as an expert on this,
Guy's got to put a ring on it.
what was it? There's like a post that goes around on Facebook, and it's a little boy, and he says, "How to make your marriage work? Tell your wife she's beautiful, even if she looks like a truck." I thought that was one of the best pieces. He says he writes it. He says like a truck. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe a bit
He's going to make
forward,
a great
but...
husband, isn't he? Eh?
Nice comparison. Shona, what's your tip?
Send him out to work as many hours as you can possibly get him out there.
Really? Absence
Makes the heart grow fonder.
Mel, our love guru.
I'll be a bit more serious tech, but I think communication. One thing that I found that really work is to just tell him exactly what I feel instead of the whole "oh, you can read my mind" kind of thing.
It's taken me 15 years to get to that.
Oh, well.
Yeah. And even communication, I think it's the way we deliver as well. I'm working on my delivery because apparently I'm very blunt. So I think I'm working on that. But yeah, communication definitely on top of the list. Next topic, wages in both Australia and New Zealand have been fairly flat. So, you know, we're not making them the same as we are in terms of the cost of living, expenses in terms of electricity, gas. Are you feeling the pinch?
Well, yes, but that is also partly because we're down to one wage. So, I mean, it's...
And that's the real struggle as a mum, if you're staying home and your husband or vice versa is one income, that makes it even harder for people out there.
Oh, every year we have to do up a budget and we kind of have to just stick to it.
Oh, really?
I need to hang out with you more, Mel. I need the budget.
So organised.
I need the marriage tips.
We just live by God.
Yeah.
That's we've done it from the day we got married. We did it in Cambodia. We do it now. We just live by God and He provides.
Yeah. I mean, electricity is just on the rise, and there's a lot of people in New Zealand, I think, that are homeless because of the cost of living. It's just
Wow.
The cost, what you're making as to the cost of living is just not matching up.
Yeah, but sometimes you look at it and you think, and maybe, you know, my parents' generation, they were a lot more frugal than the millennials and such.
Guilty.
I mean, I run an op shop and you'd be surprised the people that are coming in there and shopping.
Wow.
Okay, last topic. What's the most recent book that you've read?
Aside from the Bible, I mean, holier than thou maybe. There was this book, and it was called 40 Days to the Job You Love. It's the best book I've ever read in terms of like a self-help book. I highly recommend it. 40 Days to the Job You Love.
Yeah, I guess my one was Peppa Pig's 100 words.
The contrast.
Literally,
Incredible.
last night, no joke. So we went through all, you know, what's an apple and all that kind of stuff. Pretty cool.
I actually just read Heather Hawkins' latest book, so she'll be coming on for an interview later. So
That's exciting. Yeah.
Me, I always have 4 books on the go at any one time. But the latest one that I've read is Noah's Ark, Ellen White book, which I found really, really interesting.
Why did you find it so interesting?
It just brought up a lot of topics that I hadn't thought about, a lot of issues. So, yeah, if you want something good to read, go find it.
Well, there you go. Look, ladies, we're going to be talking now about school hours. A study in America has been put out. Now, we know here in Australia, school goes from 9 to 3, and most working parents finish at 5 o'clock. But this study says that perhaps we should finish work at 5 o'clock to match that of the working parents. Mary Ellen, you brought it to our attention. I'm throwing it to you.
Absolutely. I thought this was one of the best...
Finish school, at 5 o'clock.
Oh, finish school at 5 o'clock, yeah. This is one of the best news articles I have ever read. I couldn't agree with it more. Honestly, I was...
You want to be in school for longer?
No, it's not longer, though.
But
I've just seen so many kids, you know, they're in oosh care until like 6 o'clock when their parents finish school, and their parents are crazy rushing them to get to school before they go to work. It's just the system just doesn't work. And I think, you know what, it's not a huge sacrifice to make if both go to school and work at the same time and both finish, I'm going to stick by that point, and both finish and school and work at the same time.
It's interesting you say that a lot of, I think apparently 60% of kids will end up like going to long day care, and the cost is actually quite high. So
Well, what about the cost on the poor teachers who've got to stay there till 5 o'clock with all these
But
children?
they have to stay there till 5 o'clock anyway.
No, not at schools. And I've got a lot of teacher friends who are in school, and they're like doing 10 and 12-hour days anyway. So if you're going to plug another 2 hours onto it,
But we're not
what about
adding.
this thought? How about work ends at 3?
Well, that's
I like
another
that
thought as
idea
well.
better.
Yeah.
I think if you start early,
Finish
maybe,
early.
yeah, start 7, finish at 3.
Yeah.
That probably would work better.
Let's start thinking about the family more than work.
Even spending more time in the day as a family, you know, getting home at 3 o'clock after work.
Well,
and your kids-
definitely. And this has proven to be very successful in Northern Europe. I know that they only have like 5-6 hour workday, maybe 4 to 6 hour workdays there, and the productivity has gone through the roof because they can like look forward to going home in the afternoon. And so they're not sort of, oh, when does work finish? Oh, I'll just, procrastinate some more. They
I'll go
actually
and
get
have
their
another
work done.
coffee or...
Well, exactly, right?
I'm actually thinking of it from a different point of view, right? It's actually quite a good statement about the state of the family right now, because coming from Singapore, our school hours are also different to work hours. But we had
Were
grandparents.
they longer?
No, but it's actually different. You start at 6 o'clock and you finish at around 1, or you start at noon and finish at around 5 or 6.
Right.
So it's still, someone has to be there for the kid anyway. But you had grandparents, and so because people were a lot closer to each other, there's that, that village
We've
feel.
lost that extended family thing. We live in
Yeah.
very isolated, single-family cells now. And I don't think it's great. I don't think it's
Yeah,
good.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, but I think in Singapore as well, they say that not only are they going to school, they're doing a lot of tutoring. So there is still longer. They're doing 98% of parents put their kids in tutoring in Singapore.
Competitive.
So I don't know if the longer hours is going to correlate to being a smarter child.
No.
I don't think it does.
Look at me.
Oh, no. Come on.
Oh, hello.
Melody.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not even having grandparents living at home, but you have to think as well, I feel like the school hours, the system that we have right now is sort of based on a 1950s mentality where there's a stay-at-home wife and she can go pick up the kids. That's not the reality anymore. You've got often 2 incomes that are necessary to support your family. So,
Shona, you stayed home when your boys were at school. We've still got one boy in school.
Just about finished.
Do you think it would have changed if the school finished at 5 o'clock? Do you think you might have gone back to work?
No.
No?
No.
Was it about being at home, being
at
a
home.
present parent?
My husband and I, right from the beginning, made that decision that one of us was going to stay home. Didn't matter which one, but one of us was going to stay at home. And at different times, it was him who was at home and it was me. So throughout their schooling lives, it's been, a roller coaster of who was looking after them.
Yeah, look, the struggle is definitely real, and I think as parents, we're just trying to make the right decision when it comes to who's looking after our kids and who's staying home or who's going to work. What works for you? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram or YouTube, and let's continue the conversation there. However, up next, it's time for a fun fact about tomatoes. Tomatoes.
60 million tonnes of tomatoes are produced each year, making it the world's most popular fruit. What? Tomatoes? Fruit? Yes, scientifically, tomatoes are fruit. They come from a flower and have seeds inside, just like apples, passion fruit, watermelon, or a zucchini, or a pumpkin. Confused? Well, in 1887, this confusion led to a United States court that ruled that the tomato is a vegetable, for tax purposes anyway. 50 years before this, they believed tomatoes were poisonous, as is the case with other nightshade plants. In Europe, the acid in tomatoes caused a chemical reaction on their pewter plates, making them sick. It wasn't the tomatoes' fault, it was lead poisoning. After realising this, the poison apple became the love apple, as they believed tomatoes increased fertility. In the 20th century, the tomato is still blamed. A mullet-styled George Clooney stars in a comedy horror called Return of the Killer Tomatoes. I'm not sure what's worse, the mullet or the tomatoes.
I think the mullet would be the not the tomatoes.
Yeah, I've learned so much about tomatoes. Actually, one of my favourite quotes is, knowledge is knowing a tomato is a fruit, but wisdom is not putting it in a fruit salad. So there we go, just relation.
And tomatoes and balsamic and strawberries and balsamic, very nice.
Personally, not a fan of tomatoes. I know too much acid. Yeah. Anyway, unless it's tomato sauce, of course.
She's a Kiwi.
Figures show that palm oil represents 38% of the world's edible oil, and it's grown on 5% of the land globally, which you think is a good thing. However, the demand of this product on the market has resulted in impacts on our health and environment. Melody, you're our environment guru. What is going on?
Well, basically, because palm oil grows really quickly as well, and it's in such high demand, so they're clearing massive area of land just to be able to grow this and to produce palm oil, right? And who lives on this land? The most significant one is the orangutans.
Yeah.
But there's a whole lot of other different animals
Like
as
the pygmy
well.
elephant.
Yeah.
Elephants, rhinos, and tigers as
And
well.
people.
So,
and
yeah, and people. So,
Yeah.
it's endangering animals, but for people who don't really care about animals, right? And I know that there are people out there, but it also has a really bad effect on the environment. The reason why I actually know this firsthand is because our neighboring country, Singapore, neighboring countries are the big producers of palm oil, and every year there's this thing called the haze, and it's really bad smog.
That's from burning.
Yes, that's from burning the area to clear land to build more palm trees, and the wind drifts off over to Singapore, to Malaysia, to all the different countries, and it's really bad. Like people have to walk around with masks. Asthmatics have problems, so it's a twofold problem, really.
Even the health. I mean, there's a lot of processed foods have palm oil.
Nearly all of them, I'd say. Like anything packaged, you can guarantee almost.
Because
it's cheap,
it keeps longer. Apparently, it helps to keep the food.
Has a longer
It has a
shelf
buttery
life
taste as well.
Yeah. And its texture is what is demanded for food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the problem is, I think people don't realise that palm oil can be labelled under 200 different names.
Yes,
Vegetable oil.
Vegetable oil.
I'm guilty.
But it's 50% saturated fat. That's the problem.
Well, how can you tell if you've got palm oil if you're,
Well,
trying
apparently,
to do the right
if you
thing?
don't know the 200 names of them, which none of us are going to know, you look at the saturated fat content, and if it's about 50%,
It's palm oil.
it's palm oil.
It's pretty much got
And
palm oil
anything
in it.
that's processed, potato chips, cakes, biscuits,
Even
pastry, cosmetics.
But that was actually what surprised me. Sodium lauryl sulfate, which is, what makes that stuff bubbles and stuff like that. That's palm oil, so that actually
I was
surprised
surprised too,
me.
yeah.
I don't know how you're going to get around it, because when we were in Cambodia, a lot of the farms over there were switching to palm oil because they had such a good return on it. It's a great money-making product, and it grows fast, and it's easy to farm. It's not a hard crop like some of the others. So I don't know how in this 21st century you get away from it.
I think it's a slow change that you can start.
To what though? What do you? Because it originally used to be shortening or lard or fat.
As
so
consumers,
now what do you go to?
we can drive and push what products we use if we know what is in our products. I mean, we can. It's the way that this land is being cleared which is the problem. Like
Let me just say to you, my family somewhere along the line manufacture curry paste, and we've been trying to take the palm oil out of it.
Oh, wow.
It's very, very difficult to do, to replace the palm oil. Nothing else is as stable and doesn't have as long shelf life. So that's the problem.
There's a round table of manufacturers who the way they are producing palm oil is certified, and if you purchase certified palm oil products,
supposedly
that's one
more
way.
ethical.
Yeah, supposedly. More,
Which is,
more
I guess,
ethical.
like, your fair trade chocolate and the likes as well, and, whale tuna and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, I think another concern is the fact that I think food standards in Australia and New Zealand, we don't need to label.
Correct.
Yeah, you don't need to have palm oil on it, so people don't know what they're buying.
Right. Unless you're an ethical manufacturer, then you can get away with it. There's many ways to get around it.
Yeah, I would really encourage anyone watching at home to really look this up for yourself. There's a website called orangutans.com.au, and it's got a whole bunch of videos. I had no idea that this was an issue until yesterday, but it was just absolutely heartbreaking seeing orangutans being shot because they're wandering onto the land. These elephants just like absolutely writhing in pain because they've been burned and all these kind of things. Just because of
we have to start caring.
We have to.
Even though it's something that's not in our, it's in our backyard. It is in our backyard, but some people feel detached. They don't. Oh, look, there's a problem in Asia. I don't need to worry about it. But we do, because it's affecting environment, climate change, all that kind of stuff. Like, we need to make, as consumers, more informed choices. We'd love to hear your thoughts on palm oil or the use of palm oil. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram or YouTube. But moving on, here's a product that doesn't use palm oil. Well, I don't think it does. Mandy's making DIY dry shampoo, which is great for mothers on the go. If you're out camping, as Rach is, she's out camping with her girls, I don't think she'll be using this palm oil either. Well, I hope not. Let's check out these clips.
We've all had those days and weeks where there's just no time to wash your hair. You might be ready to go out somewhere and you look at your hair in the mirror and it's just not looking real great. This is a really simple, easy hack to keep your hair looking fresh all the time, even when there's no time to shampoo it. You will need 3/4 of a cup of corn flour, about half a tablespoon of baking soda. These 2 ingredients will help to get rid of the oil in your hair, to dry it all up. And for hair similar to my colour, I ended up using about 1/4 of a cup of cocoa powder. You'll just need to play around with this quantity to get the right colour for your hair, so it doesn't just look like you've got a lot of added greys that day. And then we're going to add about 10 drops of peppermint essential oil. This will help to revitalise your scalp and get rid of that itchy feeling we get when it's time to wash our hair. Once you've made sure you've got all of the lumps out of your mixture, we're just going to add it into a glass jar. If you are travelling though, I suggest that you put a little bit of this mixture into an old spice or herb jar to take on the go with you. Makes it much easier to use when you're travelling. You can just simply shake some on the roots of your hair and blend it in with your fingers and you're good to go. Essential oils can eat away at the plastic sometimes, so really important for your health to make sure anything with essential oils is stored in a glass jar. Right, now that I've got it all in my jar, the easy way that I like to use this at home is just using a foundation makeup brush like this. Simply dip it into the mixture in the jar, then spread it over the roots of your hair, parting your hair, putting a little bit on a time, and rubbing it all through with your fingers so it is evenly spread. You'll find that this makes your hair smell like mint chocolate. It is amazing and it lasts all day long. It smells great when you wash your hair out as well in the shower. So I hope you enjoy this simple DIY shampoo. Let us know on our Facebook page at the Table TV show what you think of this if you give it a go. We look forward to seeing you next time.
You've got to love getting out and enjoying a campfire. And part of the fun is cooking your own food. You could have sandwiches and you could have baked beans, but that's a bit boring. I think we can do better than that. What we really want to do is try a camping classic, damper. You've got 2 schools of thought. You've got your snake people who like to roll your dough out and then wrap it nice and tidy around that stick. Then you've got your mushers who like to shove it on any old how. But be careful, if it's too thick, it's not going to cook properly in the middle. And if it's too thin, you might get holes in it, so just be careful. All right, girls, make sure that you keep turning it evenly so that it cooks nicely. Don't put it over those flames there, but you need to put it over those hot coals. That might be a little bit too close. There you go. Another option is sausages. But just make sure you find a stick that's thin enough and strong enough to hold it as you thread it on. I've chosen a vegetarian sausage. There's less worry when it comes to bacteria or food poisoning if it doesn't cook the whole way through. Do you want to help, Mum? Pop it over the fire. Yeah, there you go. So if you can get the damper off smoothly without destroying the whole thing, excellent. What you want to do is decide what you want to put down there. So maybe quickly get some butter and honey down there. You want to put it down there? And basically, you can choose what you want to put down there. Another great idea is Nutella and banana. But you want to make it nice and quick so it melts, and it's going to be delicious. One of the challenges of campfire cooking is that you've really only got 2 settings: slow cook or burn it to death. But there is a very handy solution. Behold, the miracle of aluminium foil. Come on, girls, let's go wrap some veggies. Six down. Spuds are a surefire winner at a campfire. If they're too big, you're going to need to cut them in half so they cook in a good amount of time. Another great idea, corn on the cob. Carrots, you can get creative and do whatever you'd like. What's something that you like to cook or roast? Capsicum, zucchini, just make sure you actually double foil them all over so that they cook nicely. Another idea I've tried is banana with just a little bit of chocolate in the middle of it. Cut it open, slit it in, wrap it up and pop it in the fire. Well, these have turned out absolutely fabulous. Just be careful not to burn your hands because it does get hot on the inside, but a little bit of butter and salt and they are good to go. So don't be afraid to get outside and enjoy the great outdoors. It gives you a great appetite as well. How is it?
Yum.
Yum, yeah.
Too cool. Now, if you've missed any of Mandy Make's recipes or want to know some of our other great out and about segments and things that you can do with your kids, check out the tabletv.com website. But what I need to tell you about is this magazine. At the table, the very own editor is sitting next to me. Hi, Mel. Hello. This magazine, get your copy. Hit us up on Facebook or Instagram and see how you can get your free copy of the Table magazine. Now, joining us here on the table is a very special guest. She's an inspiration, Heather Hawkins. She's a mother to two, wife to one. Praise the Lord. Yes. She's a marathon runner and also a surviving ovarian cancer survivor. So thank you very much, Heather, for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a privilege to join you today.
I'm looking forward to chatting to you. I want to take you back to when you first were diagnosed with ovarian cancer. What were the symptoms?
Very general symptoms. We have, I guess, fatigue, and being a busy mum, you kind of, I guess, attribute it to just being really, really busy. I did have some abdominal bloating and swelling, which for me, that was when alarm bells started to ring because my tummy was just swelling a little more than just with, normal periods. And a little bit of discomfort as well.
Physically swelling?
Physically, yes. So I couldn't fit into my favourite red skirt one morning, and I thought, you know what, this is not right, and it just seems a bit different to middle-age spread. I mean, I was 41 at that time.
I'm not eating anything different?
Yeah, that's right, doing nothing different. So I thought it's time to go and have a chat with the GP. Yeah.
So we were just saying that, you're a marathon runner. Were you a marathon runner before you got ovarian cancer?
No, I wasn't at all. I did not exercise apart from the odd, very shallow ocean swim or a walk down at the beach. That's all I did, or chase after toddlers in those early years when the children were small. Otherwise, nothing else.
Wow.
Okay.
Changed.
Yeah. Look, before we go any further, let's get some more information about the ovarian cancer. Let's check out this Mamma Mia video.
They're really general symptoms, aren't they? And horrifying. Like 1 in 3, is it 1 in 3? 1 in 8 Australian women.
Yes.
1 every 8 hours or something.
Yeah, it is. It's very distressing, isn't it?
And was it genetic?
No, mine wasn't, but with many women it is. Yes,
that's what
yes.
the video is.
Ask about breast cancer, and if that was in the family, that could also be related to ovarian cancer.
That's right. Yes, there is that link. Yes.
So, I suppose, because it's something we don't talk about very often as women, is it?
That's right. I think a lot of us are uncomfortable. Even though we are women, we do find it, a little bit uncomfortable, and particularly young women, feel a little bit afraid, I think, perhaps even talking with their doctor about, the gynecological parts that we have and if there are any issues. But I would just really, encourage people to think it's okay. We're all the same, and if you are unsure about any symptoms, if there is anything that you're not feeling is quite right, go and have a chat with your doctor.
Yeah.
And I suppose another question I have is, you're a Christian.
Yes.
How did surviving ovarian cancer, has that changed your relationship with God?
It's really strengthened my faith. I think when you go through an experience like that, you realise how precious life is. You really dwell on the reasons and the purpose of life, and you come out the other side filled with hope, the power of prayer, the comfort that brought, and, the love and care that I received from my friends and friends at church just really helped me through that difficult few years as I, being diagnosed and then recovering. It was wonderful. Yeah.
Now, just talking about hope and stuff like that, I want to talk a little bit more about this book that you've just written. It's filled with hope. It's just amazing. Like, the story that you've had about having cancer and then going on to do surf life-saving, bronze medal at 44, marathons and alpine trekking in the 50s.
Yes.
How? What was your motivation?
Well, I think...
And why?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
I guess as I was recovering from surgery, I thought I want to live life to the full now. I really feel that I have this second chance at life. And I also want to do it with family and friends. So we were involved with the Surf Lifesaving Club at Coogee with the children in Nippers. So I thought, I'll become a surf lifesaver. And there were some other mums who wanted to do that as well. And then, I guess, getting a little bit more used to being out of my comfort zone in the ocean, I thought, I might sign up for a 4K Mother's Day run.
Just because you can.
Yes, and the idea of raising funds for breast cancer awareness. So I signed Beck and Cal up, my two children, up with me. And for me, that was my real light bulb moment. And I thought, if I can run 4K, then I can probably do a half marathon. And if I can do a half marathon, I'll give a marathon a shot. And so that's how my journey progressed.
Oh, OK, so it wasn't a big jump and straight in.
But then it's like, oh, wow, I can run a marathon. Why don't I just do it at the North Pole?
Yes, that one was on a whim. And the North Pole is this incredible event. It's held on an ice floe right up at the geographic North Pole. There are about 44 other competitors, and you run circuits around a temporary Russian research base.
What?
The temperature dropped to -41. It was, amazing.
Wow. Where can we get a copy of this book?
So it's available in all good bookstores. It's also online. You can order it online. So it's published through Murdoch Books, and it's also available as an audiobook as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. Really awesome journey, and I hope you get your hands on this book. And don't forget, thanks ladies for the chat, and I hope you have an awesome week. Don't forget, you can also check us out on thetabletv.com, Facebook, Instagram or YouTube. All the best. Until next time, God bless.